G'day everyone, Alex McKellar here for Top Split Racing. Again, back with another race review replay here at Road America. I think we're round 7, Season 1, 2022. Absolute bottler of a race, this one. Everything and more you could want from a Road America race. Plenty to look at. Starting with the grid. Leo was back. Leo's an outstanding driver, both in terms of his pace and his racecraft, which is evident today. I managed to stick it on the front row next to Leo. I was only 2.5 tenths behind, which for me I felt was a major achievement around a track of this nature. I had a couple of other ANZ drivers in there with me, Brett McBurney and Corey Lean on the second row. I've raced a bit with both of them, called their names obviously in Sunday Night Lights. After that, Diego, who I hadn't raced with, if at all, much if at all before, and Marco Valverde. He was car number 1 here, 6.5 KI rating, really strong driver, and just from the way he drives, I think he's got a bit of a sense of humour around him as well. But I've raced a couple of times with Marco and Benji Raig in particular. And he's very fast, and he got one lap in, so he wasn't. I would have expected him to pip at least me off the front row. Jeff Snevelli, another US driver that I've had some experience with racing in and around, or at least seeing around, and he's a good driver as well. So 10 laps around here. Let's find a cockpit view, get set up for the race. Show the battle box here. So we're starting from second, 10 laps, and well, let's crack on with it. So this was my third race of the week so far, and I've been getting pretty good starts. So Leo shows some good intelligence, racecraft type stuff here. Holds a line with enough space for me on the outside, so it doesn't compromise my run, but also marginally compromises his, but no risk of line or stern collision. I had a bit of a whoopsie through there that really sort of cost me any run down this front straight, and immediately I was thinking, oh my goodness, I've opened the floodgates up here. My main concerns in this race were the top 5, starting with Corey Lean at number 5 all the way up to Marco at number 1, were between 5.2k and 6.5k, so really strong, pretty strong skippy drivers, and a number of them are actually quite racy too. So immediately back at turn 5, which is the first sort of run through there, you could see I took an inside line, which was kind of my strategy through this race, was to take the inside line somewhat in defence, as we see Leo make an uncharacteristic mistake there, somewhat in defence, but also to avoid that nose to tail contact that you often see at corners, heavy braking corners here at Road America. So a couple of things I had in my mind, that was one of them. Another thing I had in my mind was Leo had the real potential to drive away. Despite the quality at the front end of this field, Leo has remarkable pace and could absolutely run away. Similarly, Marco, who's currently in P6, he was the other flight risk, and in managing a position in a pack here, had to keep a keen eye on them. The other thing that I had in my head was some wild cards in this pack. Brett and Corey are strong drivers. They're very racy, particularly Corey. And whether it's just the Australian-New Zealand kind of internet or what, they both have history with me, at least, with net code. So I had that in my head as well. So we've got a pretty good exit, or at least an equivalent exit out of the final corner. And as we go past Leo and Brett into turn 1, sometimes and you see Corey, I didn't want Corey on my right at all, so you can see him in my mirrors. I've sort of held right over to the right hand side of the track, and you'll see as this race unfolds, often I talk about practicing different lines through corners. You'll see all sorts of traditional, non-traditional, made up lines during this race. And that's the exact sort of reasons why I suggest doing it. So here, under these circumstances, I've not really given Corey any trouble. He's got good draft. I wasn't too worried. A little bit nervous with Brett behind me because of the net code. Corey makes a big mistake. I leave him plenty of room to come back on, but take the position back, and all of a sudden I find myself up front, and I feel like the biggest threat in Leo is back in P6, and I've got Corey, Brett, Marco's moved forward a little bit. He's now in P4. He's probably, I think, the second biggest threat in this field in terms of our final result. Not from a risky point of view, but just from the fact that both he and Leo are outstanding Skippy drivers. Still at the stage where we're feathering the throttle through the carousel there. Even a little bit of a chicken lift through the kink. Once the tyres are up, mind you, we're only on lap 2. You can take that flat out, no problems. In fact, I learnt through doing the lap guide with Christian this week that you can take the carousel flat out as well. Now, surprisingly, I didn't get attacked through Canada Corner, so already some race smarts and racecraft being shown in this big pack that stretches all the way down to P10, if you don't mind. 2 laps in, it's a 2800 strength of field, so for a Wednesday afternoon in US prime time on Australia Day, hence there's some ANZ guys in the field. Pretty strong field as we see both Corey and Brett go by me, and Brett's kind of clear. I lifted a bit to make sure he was clear, and side by side, let it begin. Turn 1 is something I didn't talk too much about in the track guide with Christian Perez this week for Infinite Racing Services, but it is absolutely, as we see another wild card make his way forward, and I let him through there, Diego. Turn 1 is absolutely somewhere you need to think about multiple lines, as you'll see throughout this race. It's very, very common in a big pack. Leo's starting to think about making his way forward. Now you see I've positioned myself on the inside here. There's still at least three cars behind us at this point, and I don't want any of them missing their marker hitting me, because in my view, all the momentum when you outbrake yourself pushes you towards the outside of the circuit, so you're increasing your risk by positioning your car there, in my view. So I tend to want to be on the inside and let all that, maybe I compromise my entry and my exit a little bit, but I get to enter and exit the corner safely more often than not. I've also got Zwaya, I think that's how you pronounce it, is his surname, coming into play. His first name was Fabian, and he was one that I hadn't raced with before, and again a bit of an unknown and a potential wild card that I had to keep an eye on. Young Fabian in I think it's a pinky purple flying machine. But now we're behind Marco, and Leo's made his way up to P2, so he's gone from 6th the previous lap through to P2, which really shows you how the cards in the deck can shuffle in a pack like this. So again, I'm focusing on being on the inside, not so much to make an overtaking move, which I sort of had the opportunity to have a look at here on Marco, but also to avoid that washout of anyone over braking. And the one thing you got to be really mindful of, if you've got the capacity to be thinking about it, is who's in the pack, where are they in relation to you, and modify your strategy to suit. So I've constantly in this race got my eye on where's Leo, where's Marco in particular, and trying to stay in touch with them enough so that if they get to the front, I'm close enough so that I can do something about, while I'm still got draft, that they don't drive away. And you can see Diego here showing the first sort of inkling of, let's have a look 3 wide. I backed right out, as you can see, and the front 4 really having their way with it. And Corey, once again in front, sort of overcooking the corner and leaving the door open for Leo to get to the front. And immediately I'm thinking, all right, 2 by 2 behind between Lean and Diego. How's our risk of Leo getting away? As I miss a gear, or miss time a gear at least, but immediately Marco almost grabbing the grass on the inside, looking to make it 3 wide. He wants to move forward, perhaps recognising the threat of Leo as well. And again, I had no one behind me specifically, although you could see the pink car of Fabian really looming large in my mirrors at this point. Funny thing was, there was a small incident behind us on the preceding lap through Canada Corner, I think it was, and we had a gap on Fabian behind me, and if we hadn't battled through that first sector, we would have been down to 5. And I kind of let the guys know over the radio. I said, 2 corners. Give us 2 corners and we're away. But that was not to be. As you can see, Fabian closed right up in that braking zone at turn 5. So we're back now in a battle pack that's calmed down a bit, or reduced a little bit. We're down to 7 after the incident, which you would have only maybe caught a glimpse of in my mirrors in the previous lap. I caught only the briefest of glimpses of it, enough to sort of think that we might have a chance to get away, but of course you heavily got your eyes set forward in a race like this as well, as much as you can. So again, I felt confident that I wasn't going to get run up the rear there, so I took more of a natural racing line. As we come to the end of lap 4 already. Very important to get the exit of the final corner right. I haven't done a great job there, but if you want to have any chance of both moving forward and you know, having a good result in the race, you've got to nail the final corner. It sets up the next lap as well. Now, I didn't follow Diego over to the right so much. Again, you can see me thinking about taking an inside line in case Fabian behind me wants to have a look. Compromise my line, not dissimilar to what Leo did initially at turn 1, just to make sure he's got the room to outbrake himself and not hit me. And I'm not worried when they're 2 by 2 in front of me that they're going to get away. Although I do notice that Leo and Marco are on the front of this group. Focus on my exit here, box Corey in beside me with Diego. But again, at this point I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to be on the outside. I really want to be on the inside. What's going to happen? So I lift out, Leo and Marco side by side. I make a strong move over to the inside. Because again, anything I'm thinking will wash out. 3 wide almost. Marco backs out, looks to go over under. A little bit of a clip. Looked more like netcode than anything because Leo's car didn't budge an inch. You can see Marco just slightly misjudging the coming in behind Leo there. But that's allowed me to go in front of Marco. But side by side, you can see the aggression of Lean really wanting to be on the front of this pack, and Marco coming back at me through the hurry downs. 2 by 2 by 2 they go everywhere on the track. I sort of made it easy for Marco to fall back into line there. Now you can go flat through here, but not in a pack like this. I think there's too much disruption to what little aero the cars have, to be honest. Similarly, you can go flat through here, but I turned in a bit late. Maybe had a touch of understeer. Cost me a little bit of time, and I've got Jeff's now right behind me, but I'm okay with Jeff, so I take the normal racing line there. I've got confidence that Jeff can hit his marks in a pack like this. So we're a little bit back here, giving ourselves a little bit of space, not so much through design, but through the run. But that then gives us a good chance to get a run out of the final corner, which I blow by not quite getting my braking right. But we're in a solid position here, P5 in the front pack. I'm not too worried so long as Leo and Marco are sort of kept entertained. As you can see again, I'm looking on the inside first. When I'm no threat from being hit from behind, move over to the outside natural racing line and just watch the fireworks as they sort of sort themselves out. I think Leo must have lifted a bit there to make sure, and see how even with a compromised exit, I took third gear, compromised my exit, I still get the run out. And a lot of that's dress rehearsal. Leave Leo room on the outside at turn 3. That is turn 3, despite it looking like a straight in between 1 and 3. It's actually a corner, and it's actually this whole straight here on the track map. You got 2 quarters, so you end up going from 3 down this long straight into turn 5. Leo coming over for some side draft, looking to move forward again. You can see I've positioned myself on the inside. I want to let any incidents wash out to the outside. Leo, big move around the outside, but we're 3 wide briefly. But I'll make room on the inside for Diego. And Leo, see how compromised I took that exit? I wanted to give Leo the room to come back in. Corey up front is a little bit of a flight risk, but he seemed to be struggling a little bit with consistency this race. So I wasn't too worried if he was on front. I thought the quality in this pack was enough to be able to sort of run him down if he did get away, particularly with Marco in P2. This time, yes, we managed the kink flat out. Go me. You can see this pack extends down to P9 again. All the battling's brought back a couple of folk into this one. Yeah, not worried about getting hit from behind with Jeff there, so take the natural racing line. You can see side by side ahead. Such intensity in this. You're constantly, I mean, you're trying to focus on eyes forward, but you've got to constantly adjust line. You're not, see, I even grabbed second gear there for a moment, which is not what you want through the final corner if you want to set it up to maximise your chances of, you know, moving forward if possible. But, you know, keeps you busy if nothing else, a pack like this at Road America. Again, Lean still on front as we start lap 7. He takes an inside line again, defending turn 1. 2 by 2 they go. Look how tight Diego is on entry into that corner, and look how much speed I have on them even in third gear. Like, that's a 4th gear corner, but there's a real lesson there. Compromise 2 by 2 is just, you know, not the fastest way around, but, you know, sometimes you don't want the fastest way around. You only got to win the race, or you've got to, you know, get your best result somehow. And sometimes disrupting super fast drivers, there's just a lot of movement there, isn't there? See Leo go up the inside again, or the outside I should say. I'm sticking to my inside strategy, and it's slow right in those braking zones as everything compresses, and that allows Fabian, you see I hold second gear there. I held it for a while there just because I wanted to give Leo a bit more of an opportunity to come across and settle back into line. It's a strategy I use sometimes, just hold a gear a bit extra. The high revs there are just using, I tend to run 4th through the hurry downs into that corner, even in a pack. I don't like going into 5th there because it breaks my rhythm. So much strategy and stuff going through your head here. If you can manage to have more than just steering and pedals in your head during this kind of race, you know, your brain's filled with where do I go, what do I do sort of stuff. You see Marco now briefly on front, goes up the inside of lane. Look at how much I make up in the braking zone. Even with such a short compromised exit, as short as in not using the full track width, you make up so much time there. Looks like we've lost a couple off the front pack. We're down to 7 in the front pack, 2 behind me, Fabian. And, what was his name? His surname was Thomas. Just trying to think of his name. I think it was Carl. Yeah, no, it was Kia. Kia Thomas from memory. And the Ducks and Drakes continue. Thomas setting another fastest lap of a 33 dead. Look at Diego. He was the absolute wildcard in this back. That is such a narrow entry into one. I almost get caught out there. I actually got caught out because I had Fabian in my mirrors. I had no intention of going up the inside, but then Fabian outbraked himself. When I looked at the replay, he didn't brake until a normal, even a late for a normal solo lap. He braked sort of well after the sort of 10-15 metres after that second set of cones. And I spotted it and got out of the brakes. Luckily, there was a gap there on the inside. Otherwise, I was taking someone out. But otherwise, dead set Fabian would have planted his nose in the rear of my car. Starting to get racy now. There's only the 3 laps to go. So I hold my gear a little bit longer there just to give Diego the space, but also give me the space to brake more naturally through this hurry down section. And try and get a decent run through here. Not as good as I would have liked, but not too bad. Still not holding flat through here, which you can do on your own. It's a bit tougher in all the disturbed air, surprisingly, in these low downforce cars. It's really nothing to speak of by way of downforce. Of course, the draft has an effect. I had to lift there. You see the counter steer as well. The rear really wants to let go through the kink there as we approach Canada. I'm confident with Leo. Oh, this is where it all happened. I didn't know where to go, and then and then it just squeezed through. Jeepers. We'll have a look at that one in replay, but that was, you know, the whole race. You feel like you're holding a hand grenade with the pin already pulled in it. It's going to go off at some point. And, you know, eventually it did. Surprisingly, though, I've got to say the racing up until that point had been, you know, hectic, but pretty high quality. That was just an incident. And honestly, I wasn't looking up the inside. It just all checked up quicker than I expected. I got out of the brakes and back onto them. And I got to tell you, I got real lucky there. And we'll have a look at that one in replay. But we carried on, we put it behind us, and immediately we're back into the last 2 laps of the race. And surprise, surprise, the cream's rising to the top. You got Leo and Marco straight away battling for the podium positions. See, second gear through there, that's how compromised it is. And I'm immediately worried about Fabian this time. He's already outbraked himself once and scared the whoops out of me. But again, my strategy, I want the inside line. Interesting, I didn't know if Marco was giving me the draft or whether he too was worried about the braking of Fabian and wanted to give him that space. So I've just stuck in behind Marco. Now I left space for Fabian to come back on. Not everyone will, but yeah, I think it's important to myself. That's just how I do it. And again, I'm only in second gear. And at this point, with, you know, a lap and a half to go, look at the gap. It's half a second, and I'm worried the 2 quickest guys in the field, all of a sudden they're on front and they got a bit of a gap. So I really needed to nail this corner well. Got a good run, and uncharacteristically, Leo made a little bit of a mistake. I think he did it on lap 1 as well, but ran wide through the exit of that corner at the bottom of the hurry downs. So that brought us back into it, surprisingly. And we're back under 4/10 with this massive draft here. And we got, you know, 3/10 behind us as well on Fabian. which gave me a little bit of confidence as well. And look at we're the elastic band pulling us back in, that draft elastic band. And so I take more of a natural line here because Fabian's far enough behind. But it also, because they were side by side, gives me the opportunity to show the nose. But I really want Leo back in there comfortably. Even with the last lap coming up, don't want Marco to be running away with it. And here we go, last lap. As my partner in crime likes to say, time to win it or wear it. I've got a great run here. Look, the smarts of the old head Leo. Well, I don't know if he's an old head, but there he says, no inside run for you. And then Marco says, no coming back outside either, champion. So Marco breaks nice and deep there. But again, I'm in third gear there. It's a fourth gear corner, but we're all compromised. Still on the inside. And again, down to second gear there. It's third gear corner. That's probably something I need to work on. Still holding third gear there, but I wanted the drive out as much as anything. And again, my inside line strategy comes out because we brought Fabian back into it. Marco shows the nose on Leo. Leo leaves him plenty of room. Compromised his mid-corner speed, but still gets the drive out of the corner. There's 2x2 we go. I braked a bit earlier than Fabian there. So we continue 2x2. I'm very sketchy on the outside of that corner, but I hold fourth gear. And I'm thinking at this point, oh, I know it's the right thing to be doing for Fabian, but it's costing us time, and these two are just as likely to run away. I thought, oh, that's it, we're done, we're fighting for third. No criticism of Fabian there. Honestly, it's the last lap. He wants to move forward as much as I do. Absolutely legitimate. But thankfully, we still had draft, and we weren't out of it quite yet. At this stage, I'm thinking, oh, I've got to disrupt the two in front of me somehow. I've got to make it hard for them to get a clean run, particularly Marco, because I really want to be in second here. I can't win it from third, but I might be able to win it from second. And you see, showing the nose on the outside gets Marco offline and gets me nice and close. You can see I'm a 10th. And I'm thinking here, disrupt him. And I'm already right big in his mirrors, and I'm dividing his attention between front and behind. You can see he stays a little bit wide there. I give myself a little bit of space to nail the exit. You see, I've got that good run. I'm so close on him, less than 2/10. Now I move to the right, he covers off, and bang, I'm straight back underneath him to get the draft from Leo. I've given up on winning the race, but I want second place. You see, I had to lift. I thought I was going to bump into Leo, but we got it. We got P2. Such an intense race. Absolutely crazy stuff. It was amazing, honestly. And we had a couple of conversations going afterwards. Marco and Leo and myself. Just, all of us say, I think I said, I don't think my doctor would like me to do that again in a hurry. There was a lot of heart racing going on in that one, as much as any other kind of racing. But let's go and check out. I want to find that key incident that we talked about, and I think it was, it must have been this lap here. So let's go back and check it out. All right, so just watching my perspective here, first of all, we're coming into the braking zone, and I was ready to go line astern. I had full confidence that Leo was going to hit his marks and be fine behind me. But this is where, thankfully my old man reflexes didn't let me down here. So Marco checks up quite early. You can see typically you would brake in a pack like this around the 3 board. When you're on your own, it's sort of in between the 3 and the 2. But he's checked up quite early, and that put me off. a little bit. So I went to the inside to find some space, but it had also put me off my braking. I'd actually hit the brake. If I put the driver inputs up, you'll see what I mean. I actually hit the brakes early because I got a bit... I didn't know where to go, because you see Marco's actually moving a little bit left to right as well, and he's checked up quite early. Nothing wrong with it. It just caught me out a bit. So I've braked, and then I've let off to get a bit of steering to adjust my line, and Marco thankfully probably saw me coming and moved back out to the outside. And then I'm not back on the brakes until too late, for this kind of racing. And so I'm potentially just going to become part of the accident at this point. So I'm heavy on the brakes. You can see, what's that, 85, 90%. And then it actually turns out, we can have a look at it as well, there's a bit of net code in front that unseats Corey. But in all honesty, if that doesn't happen, I reckon I hit Diego there. And you look at this run. This is insane. Like, it opens up because he opens up the wheel, and just get through there. That's really tight. You can see once I've recognised that I'm through, I'm straight back on the gas because I don't want to get hit from behind by anyone else that might have been caught out by that. That's nuts, honestly. Look at the pedal inputs going nuts here. So we're heavy on the brakes. I'm not using throttle to accelerate here. I should clarify. I'm using throttle to stabilize the car. Look, you can just see both the pedals going absolutely nuts as I try it. And then finally, when we're clear, we're through. Just, absolutely crazy stuff. We take a look at the incident itself. We'll take the inputs off because it's my replay and I don't get their inputs. You can see it was just a little bit. Yeah, I think it's just netcode. If we hop on board with Corey, we'll see. It's just, there's no actual... Look, my view is netcode's no excuse. We know it's internet racing, stuff happens. You need to leave a little bit of a margin, but yeah, like I said, Diego was probably the wild card. Look at that close that is. Probably the wild card, and in that pack, and it probably showed there. Thankfully, they were both able to continue, and Corey actually ended up finishing 4th, I think, from memory, out of that, which, all things considered, isn't too bad, I would have thought, for the incident that happened there. But anyway, look, so much to take away from that in terms of how to approach battling in good company, strategy, where to position your car during a race, how to battle, understanding that battling costs you so much time in a race, and what that can mean at a track like this. You can go, like on lap 2 or 3, I think it was, we had a chance to break away as a pack of 5 because the battle continued. We were back to a pack of 9 in a lap and a half, and those sorts of things. People like to race, but at the same time, you've got to race smart too. In a pack like this, though, realistically, you might be able to sit on the back of it. I'd be happy to sit on the back of a pack of 5, but I'm not sitting on the back of a pack of 9. There's too much risk of something happening in the middle of the pack and then the front runners get away. So, look, there's so much to think about. Adjusting lines, taking multiple lines, adjusting your throttle and brake inputs, your gearing, all sorts of stuff. You saw it all on display in that race. And what a heart-pounding one it was. Just brilliant stuff. Anyway, folks, that might do us for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy your racing at Road America. This shows you that, stuff happens. Bumps and bruises can happen, but, at the same time, you can get some amazing racing experiences as well. But for now, don't forget to check out Sunday Night Lights this week on Top Split TV on Twitch at 9:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, which is GMT plus 11, so it's in the morning in some of the European time zones. It's a bit tougher for the US folk to get there. Top Split TV on Twitch, Top Split, the Top Split on YouTube, of course, where the race replays like this, and also the SNL and MNL replays are all there as well. Otherwise, folks, check us out on the Locked On iRacing podcast as well. Search for that on iTunes or just podcasts or Spotify as well, where we cover all the ANZ news, views and results. So, bit of fun in that as well. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Alex McKellar, and until next time, ciao for now.